How nice is this new business car from Broadway Limited? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Today I'm reviewing Broadway Limited's HO scale model of the Union Pacific business car, Kenefick. Broadway Limited offers this car in several versions with different drumhead signs on the rear. I opted for the most generic version with the UP shield. The MSRP for this model is $129.99. I pre-ordered and got my car for $103.99 from Factory Direct Hobbies. We'll start the model at 100 possible points. The car comes in a cardboard box with a clear plastic window. Inside, a two-piece plastic cradle protects the model. Some literature is included with instructions and exploded view drawings. This page is really small and could be bigger, so it's easier to read. There's also a brochure with information about upcoming releases. This is a good box that should protect the model for storage and transport. The Kenefick was built in 1950 as Union Pacific Chair Car 5446. It's been renumbered several times since. In 1963 it became a business car and was renumbered Second 99. In 1965 it was renumbered 100, the sixth piece of UP equipment to carry that number at the time. The car gained its current number 119 in 1986. The reporting mark was also changed from UP to UPP, making this the first piece of equipment to carry that reporting mark. UPP is used for the Union Pacific Heritage Fleet. In 1988, it was named Kenefick after John C. Kenefick, the president of the Union Pacific from 1971 to 1983. I compared the car to photos of the real Kenefick, and it looks to be a very close match overall. The photos I found are dated from 1997 to the present, and the model does a good job of reproducing the look of the prototype. It looks like some of the smaller details have changed over time. For example, sometime in 2009, the dome near the rear of the car was changed from a larger white-colored one to a smaller one like what's on the model. Most photos showed that this new dome was painted a darker color, not UP gray. Prior to 2010, the small window on the right side of the car was a two-piece design with a post in the middle. Sometime between 2010 and 2012, the window was changed to a single pane as on the model. From what I understand, UP modifies the Heritage Fleet cars from time to time, so if you really wanted to detail the car for a particular year, it would require some careful research. To me, it looks like the car best represents the Kenefick's appearance in more recent years. The only minor discrepancy I noticed is that there should be seams on the observation end where the retractable steps swing down on the real car. The model does a good job representing the steps in the retracted position, but there are no seams. I don't think this is a big enough deal to take points off, but some modelers might want to scribe lines into the car in that area to mimic the seams. The paint on the car is opaque and thin enough not to obscure fine details. The markings are crisp and free of voids. Though there isn't that much of it on this car, all the tiny writing is legible. It may take magnification to see it. The windows are flush and have nice gasket detail around the edges. In addition to the freestanding grab irons, the car also has other small details like side mirrors and electrical connectors. The interior has a lot of detail, including seats and tables in multiple colors. On the front end, the diaphragm is the more modern type that looks like it's made of sections of large rubber tubing. The actual diaphragm on the model is hard plastic and it doesn't flex. This end also has more freestanding grab irons and an uncoupling lever. The detail on the rear includes working marker lights, windshield wipers, delicate-looking railings, functional ditch lights, and an uncoupling lever. As I mentioned at the beginning, BLI's other versions of this car have a different drumhead in place of the small UP shield. On top, the car has a lot of interesting separately applied roof details, including some freestanding wire that I assume is an antenna or conduit. As I mentioned earlier, some of these details have changed over time on the real car. Underneath, the car has a mix of molded on and separately applied details. It lacks some of the freestanding wire plumbing present on some other passenger cars in this price range, but it's detailed enough to look good when the model is on the rails. Copper strips with holes in them hold the axle ends, similar to the way some diesel trucks are set up. The wheels are metal and the axle centers are plastic. All the wheels pick up current. The Kenefick is on the left and one of my Walther's Heritage Fleet cars is on the right. The color match is near perfect and the diaphragms nearly touch. The car is equipped with KD number 5 or similar couplers. Looking for a match on the horizontal center line, the coupler on the diaphragm end of the car is slightly low. The coupler on the rear end is high. All the wheels are in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge. There is no significant body wobble. The car weighs 6.7 ounces, very close to the 6.75 ounce NMRA recommended weight for a car of this length. The model is reasonably free rolling. I tested the car on Kato 550mm curves, which are equivalent to a 21 5/8 inch radius. It works, though there's a lot of overhang on the ends. Cars like this are much better off on broader curves. I'm testing the car on a DCC-powered track. This car has an innovative way to control the lighting. Instead of a decoder, touching different parts of the roof with your finger will turn different lights on and off. Touching here turns on the green marker light. Touching here toggles the red marker light. Touching here turns on the interior lights, including the lights in the roof over the rear platform. Holding your finger in this area will cause the lights to dim. If you lift your finger and put it back down, they'll brighten again. Touching here toggles the ditch lights. The car has a capacitor circuit to keep the lights from flickering. It will keep them on for a couple seconds when the power is interrupted. Unfortunately, there's no memory, so when the power is restored, all the lights will turn on. This isn't too big of an issue on DCC since track power is constant, but it might become annoying on DC since the lights will reset every time the train stops for more than a few seconds. To fix the coupler height, I'll start by removing the couplers. Sometimes the magnetic screwdrivers take the screw out and sometimes they don't. Now I can pull out the draft gearbox. I prefer scale couplers, so I'm going to pop open the draft gearbox. So these look like KD number 5s or a very close copy. Normally I prefer whisker couplers, but these boxes have an integrated plastic spring, so I'm going to have to use something else. Fortunately, I was able to scrounge a pair of KD 58s out of my stash of couplers. My first thought was to use some KD 58s since they have the same shank design as the number 5s that were in this. However, the centering action is really not very good. Kind of comes back to wherever. Like now it's kind of pointed that way. Now it's kind of centered. So it's not very consistent. After some trial and error, I figured out I could use a standard KD draft gearbox with the end shortened. So I removed about 1/8 of an inch of material from the back end and then it fits. Before I put the couplers on, I figured out that if you spread the sides, you can gently work the floor loose if you want to get to the interior. I found it easier to start on one end and then kind of work my way down. So the entire car chassis comes out of the car body in one piece, so you could actually leave the couplers on it and still disassemble it. So these are the touch points, and as you can see there's actually 5 of them, although I tested it with the body removed, and this one doesn't seem to do anything, so maybe this is a circuit board that they use in different models, and maybe in another model it might do something. You can get a better view of the interior details like this. If you wanted to add figures, this would be the way to do it. This gives you a better view of the table inside the car too, with chairs around it, probably a conference table and or dining table. So getting back to the couplers, I've installed the KDs with the shortened boxes and they work just fine. And they center properly. Just in general, the whisker couplers don't extend much past the screw in terms of the back. So you can shorten these coupler boxes quite a bit without hurting anything if you need to. Now the front coupler is a little low. The rear coupler is just slightly low. I noticed the couplers were sagging. I made some shims out of 10,000 styrene and glued them inside the bottom lid. Now the front coupler looks good. The rear coupler looks pretty good. When I get a model all fixed, I like to put a dot of green paint somewhere inconspicuous on the bottom so that I know I've already worked on it. Alright, this car's ready for service. I've had a set of Walther's Union Pacific Heritage Fleet excursion cars for quite a while now, and it's nice to finally have a business car to round out the end of the train. Like some other models that I've reviewed recently, this one has an interesting lighting setup. It doesn't require a decoder, it's just a touch system, which is kind of cool. It doesn't even need a magnet like some of the other cars that I've reviewed. So it's kind of nice because you don't need to use a decoder or worry about CVs or anything like that. You just kind of set up the lights. And with a car like this, most likely you're not going to need to control the lights while the train's in motion anyway. Most of the time you're just going to set something and leave it like that and then run the train around. So that part is kind of cool. I do kind of wish it had a memory feature so that especially if you're running on DC, you wouldn't have to reset the lights every time you start the train. I think that might be something they could improve upon. But other than that, I think it's a pretty cool system. Let's see what we've got. Both couplers were at the wrong height, so I took 10 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with 90 out of 100 possible points, which earns an A-. This is a nice model and it deserves a green signal. I think Broadway Limited did a really nice job with this car. If you're looking for an HO scale Union Pacific business card, then I think you might like it. If you like this video, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.